Alrighty. Alrighty. Good morning, Compass Cartel, and welcome back to my official second live stream of the Crypto Compass. Normally, I've been making YouTube videos, but I decided to jump into that live stream to give you live updates of the current crypto market. This is going to be a good one because we've seen the market just dip. Markets have taken a huge hit since we've had those Fed rate cuts. And normally you think, yeah, those Fed cuts are super bullish, right? And it's great, right? Rates are falling. You can get a better interest rate on things like mortgage and loans and so on. But as a matter of fact, mortgage rates actually increased when the rates got cut. And that's because the 10-year treasury went up. I know this may be going over someone's head and maybe something you may not understand completely. And I'm not a financial expert either on the overall market, but I can give you my views on crypto and exactly where I think this market is headed based on my experience in the past two cycles. So I was there for this past cycle. I was there back in 2019 before the 2020 to 2022 super cycle started. So now I'm here for this cycle, and I do believe that this is going to be huge. I am firmly a strong believer in Q4. I think Q4 is going to be ginormous. I think Q4 is going to be the biggest quarter for crypto that we've seen in this bull run so far. And I expect that to go to Q1, Q2 of next year, but we'll dive into the charts and we'll see exactly how it is. Before I get into all of that, please stay active in the chat. I'm doing live streams. I'm going to be doing this in the mornings on the weekend. I'll try to pick it up on the weekdays, but please do stay active in that chat. I'll be looking at that chat. I'll be responding to you guys. I want this to be as personal and as communicative as possible. So let's keep that chat active. Let's keep it going and let's dive into these charts. So first, let me start by pulling up Bitcoin's chart, and I'll go down the list. Always start with the big three: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Link. I stress it so much. I'll continue to stress it because I continue to think that these are the top three cryptos. Literally, Bitcoin, digital gold, Ethereum's a network, and Chainlink is the bridge of data off chain to on chain. So, enough of that spiel. Let's dive into the charts and see exactly the sentiment of the market, exactly what's going on, and why we're dumping. That's the big question on everyone's mind, I'm sure. So let me share my screen here. Bear with me a second. Again, second time streaming, so have some patience, please. Alrighty. Okay. Cool. So here we are. Just want to make sure it's showing. Okay, perfect. So here we have our Bitcoin chart, right? This Bitcoin chart is telling us on the 4-hour time frame, right? I can change my time frame here. I personally like to look at the 4-hour because I think that is the neutral time frame that everyone could be looking at. I don't want to go too small. I don't want to go too big. Too small being maybe in 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, too big being things like the daily, monthly, weekly, things of that sort. Obviously, it's nice to look at different time frames. I'll start with the 4-hour. Here we have Bitcoin sitting under 110,000. So we did dip a bit from our last stream, our last video. I believe we're around here. We broke through that support, and now we're coming down here. We could be building some support down here. So we could be trading sideways for a little bit and then right back up to test liquidity back up in here. This is going to be a big resistance, in my opinion, that $113,000 to $14,000 range. If we break that, we can definitely have continued upward movement. However, this has to hold right here. So everything going on right here, it has to hold. It has to hold because we don't want to break down from here. We break down, we could be seeing 100,000. We could dip below that, see 90,000 until we actually form a bottom. Yes, that may seem scary. That may be alarming for people new in crypto or maybe even seasoned investors, but you have to understand that there is risk in this game. There's additional volatility in crypto. my personal method and the best way to get around this is the concept of dollar cost averaging. So looking back on the chart, let's just say you bought here. Yeah, you're down, but you came down. Let's just look at the measurement tool here, where we're currently at 4%. So you bought here. Now we came down here. You buy again, and let's just say hypothetically we come down again another 5-ish%. So if I take it down here to about, let's just say that 3%, that's 105 to another 3%. I can zoom out more. So we take that down to 5-ish%, 100 to 3,000. So you can periodically just continue buying as we go down 3 to 5%, right? That's a great strategy. That's a good strategy because you're able to see, those your dollar cost average, your average price kind of go lower. So your average buy-in goes lower as you start buying on dips. So that's how dollar cost averaging works. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that, but just wanted to refresh your memory. But this is how Bitcoin currently looks. So Bitcoin's looking like it's sideways down here, not looking super hot, but definitely looking to get somewhere, right? Maybe it could be sideways and then just pop at the start of the new week on Monday. Again, we're coming into the end of the month. So end of month gets super volatile. We could see more of a dip before the start of October. But famously, October is known as Uptober, which means we have gains. We're continuing to move up, and it normally goes until the end of the year, which is what Q4 is, the last 3 months of the year, October, November, December. So again, could be super bullish. We got to wait and see, take a wait and see approach. But me personally, not financial advice. I do feel like it would be smart to be positioned in some assets, especially these majors, before October hits. Again, something I also want to point out, since we're here looking at the chart, is I don't like to use candles. So normally you may be used to candles. They look like that. These are candles. These are like a typical chart. Me personally, I like to use bars. I like bars because there are different ways to read the charts, different technical analysis readings, and you can look at each individual bar and kind of tell the potential movement or the potential buy ups of the asset or depreciations of an asset. Not depreciation, but like the downside of an asset. Basically, it's a different way to look at it. I can do another video where I go into my technicals, but for now, I just wanted to let you know that if you're looking at this and you're confused, I like to use bars and I like to keep them white because I don't like the psychological look of green and red because I get happy on a green, disappointed on a red, and it just kind of messes with your head when it gets into trading. So I like to keep it simple, white color and bars rather than green and red on a candle chart. All right, so let's hop into Ethereum now. So Ethereum is also taking a beating. Ethereum has been down since this right here. Like, look at that. It kind of fell off a cliff from here, right? Initially fell down 9%, hit a low of 15%, currently sitting at 10%. So yeah, this just further solidifies the point that Bitcoin is the king. Bitcoin holds its most value. All other assets are going to dip more. Bitcoin has the store value. It's literally the king, and everything else follows it. And yeah, we can see that with things like the Bitcoin dominance, which I covered in my last live stream. But basically, the Bitcoin dominance is showing where the money is flowing. Is the money mainly flowing in Bitcoin, or is it going to alternatives or altcoins like Ethereum, Chainlink, so on, even these smaller coins like these meme coins? It's a good indicator to see when alt season really kicks off. So when Bitcoin dominance plummets and the Bitcoin price is just kind of stagnant, going sideways, that's when the money is flowing outside of Bitcoin and going into these altcoins. So it's a good indicator and something to look at. But Ethereum doesn't look too different from where Bitcoin was. So as you can see, we made a little bottom down here, kind of popped up a little bit, like very slightly, like let's just say 5%. It's not too slightly, but it's very not too big of a gain coming from up here where we dipped from 4,500, and honestly we were pushing almost 5,000, almost near all-time highs. Like back here we are almost pushed 5,000, and then we've been down ever since. So on a bigger time frame it looks like it may be dipping more, but again, we have to form a solid base here. Volatility coming into the end of the month, so definitely a lot could be at play here. But I do think that we'd be able to weather the storm if you're able to buy these dips and kind of hold through it. Again, Q4 setting up to be very bullish. And finally, let's just take a look at Chainlink. So Chainlink also kind of fell off a cliff, coming out here, almost hitting up 25 back in the middle of this month. So it's kind of mapping out from there. Coming to the lows, it dropped about 22%, currently sitting at a low from this month at down almost 18%. So yeah, that's pretty drastic. And looking back at it, we were pushing near 30. And then now we're coming down, kind of retesting this liquidity down here. I wouldn't be surprised if we do kind of test below 20 again. Although we could very easily have formed a bottom just right here. So this could be the bottom. Maybe we test the liquidity right at 20 again, kind of sweep the lows and then head right back up. Sorry, excuse my mic. But it's really, really just dependent on where the money's flowing in the market, any bullish news or bearish news that we may get. A lot of factors are coming into play here, but then again, this was expected. I just want you to know that this was very much expected. We were looking literally at the market, and now we're thinking, okay, now the market's coming in, the Fed cut the rates, and now since the Fed cut the rates, now we're trying to pick back up, and we're trying to see where the market's going to go. Initially, it's going to be bearish, but eventually it will flip bullish, and that's just my opinion. Okay, so we got some chats here. Love it. So this is not where you buy. Okay, I understand crypto mafioso. Get it? You don't think I should buy here? Some small dip is drastic. Yeah, okay, I get it. I'm gonna be active in the chats. Totally get it. Open to criticism. Totally fine. But I'm gonna say that everything that's going on right now, yes, I'm bullish on the market. I do feel like we pumped up a lot and we had a big dip. I think short term it was a drastic dip. I will say that. But long term, it really is just like a little bump. Sure. But I do feel like maybe we could go lower. So that's why I'm saying we should DCA. So if you have a different opinion, sure, stay active in the chat. I'll love to respond to it. But I'm going to continue to say that Q4 is going to be bullish. I'm strongly believing in that. And I feel like we could definitely push up and move forward. But please feel free to drop your opinions in the chat. I'll be responding to that chat and I'll be looking at it. But I'm you could say a perma crypto bull. I've been a bull for a long time, since before the last bull run in 2019. So I'm going to continue to stress and say that this is going to be a good market. Q4 is historically bullish. Even last Q4, that's when Bitcoin shot above 100,000. So I don't see why not Bitcoin. If it's holding above 100,000 here, it can't shoot above 120, 130, something that you would think is crazy, but could actually happen. Just my opinion again. But yeah, stay active in the chat. I love having these conversations. That's definitely something I want to do. So let's jump into my next visual here, and I want to talk about seasonality with Bitcoin. Seasonality in the sense that Bitcoin, like I'm saying, is historically very good in Q4. So, seasonality trends since 2013. So if you look at this stat right here, since 2013, Bitcoin has delivered an average return of 85% in the final quarter since 2013. So that's data that's over 10 years now. And it's a very strong period for bulls. And historically, if Q3 is green, then let me zoom in here, then Q4 is green. So that is the case for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin Q3 It's currently green. Obviously, we're not completely done with Q3. I think it ends the end of this month, beginning of October is Q4. But basically, even if we barely stayed green like in 2024, look, we went up 47% in Q4. We stayed green in 2021. We went up 5%. 2020, we went up 168%. Like that's absolutely insane, right? That's a huge gain. We haven't seen that big gain in this bull run, which technically I would say started in 2023. We haven't seen that big of a gain just yet. Let's 2017. See, we were green at 80%. We went up 215% that next quarter. We were green in Q3 of 2013 at 40%. And we went up almost 500, 480%. So these are big gains, right? Ethereum, you can see has similar gains, but Bitcoin historically is a lot more bullish in Q4 compared to any other crypto. And again, Bitcoin can propel the market up. It can push things up and bring things to a level that you would think is obscene or that is very big, right? So it's big gains coming down the pipeline. I feel like Q4 is really getting set up for Bitcoin. Sure, money's going to flow to Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is going to go up, but eventually I feel like that money will flow back into altcoins. So maybe we run up Bitcoin October, November, Bitcoin kind of takes a breather, and December we run up altcoins, or Bitcoin literally runs till December, and then starting Q1 2026, that's when Bitcoin goes sideways, kind of slows down a little, and then money flows into these altcoins. And Q1 2026 is your bullish alt season that we've all been waiting for. Again, anything can happen. We can see exactly where this is going to go. So I see some more chats here. So Crypto Mafia So said, I think we can go much lower, but in the long term, bullish. Yeah, me too. But I don't think we see an alt season like we did before. I believe many coins will just die out. Yeah, I do think other coins will die out. That's very accurate because as a lot of these coins are very saturated, there's too many coins in the market. That's why I keep highlighting the big three: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink. Very big on those three. But looks like you're saying Bitcoin's the safest bet. Completely agree. Bitcoin will always be the safest bet. Bitcoin is literally the standard of crypto. It's digital gold. It's literally the one, the king of crypto. Completely agree with that. Yeah, and you're saying yeah, Solana, Link, Aave, they will survive. But yeah, I think that many coins may not reach all-time high. A lot of people are big on obviously these more trendy coins like XRP and Cardano. Yeah, those could definitely make an impact. I think XRP and Cardano. I'm personally not a huge fan because I think they're more hype. XRP is big just because of their SEC case. Cardano just is a lot of false promises. Not trying to hate on the actual project or offend anyone, but I do feel like Cardano is a lot of false promises, and it's not a lot's going to come out of there. But I am very bullish on projects that actually provide utility, like DeFi, that's where Chainlink and Aave come into play. Solana has really picked up since it hit a low, back in the last bull run. The whole FTX debacle with SBF hit a low of like below $20, something crazy. And then the network's now being used. You have Pump Fund, you have all these other things being built on it. So I do feel like Solana is big. I do feel like Solana is going to be good. And maybe these other top 10 coins. And I'll jump into the chart and I'll show you maybe the top 10 coins. Maybe we can kind of dive into that while we're here. We might as well. So cryptocurrencies by market cap. If we just look at the top ones, let me share my screen. Alrighty. Can you see that? Cool. Yeah. So if we're just looking at the top coins, right? Excuse me. Then we have like Bitcoin, right? It's going to be great. Ethereum, I also feel like will be great. XRP, I'm not the biggest fan of. BNB, look, I know Binance has gotten a lot of heat. CZ, the founder of Binance, has also gotten a lot of heat. He even ended up in jail, like a year ago or something like that. Like there's a lot going on there, but I do feel like Binance will have its success. It's Binance is one of the biggest exchanges in crypto. A lot of volume, liquidity there. Sure, a lot of it can be sketchy. A lot of it is iffy, but I do am a big believer in BNB, and I think Binance will be successful. I mean, it's currently a top 5 by market cap. It made a new all-time high above 1,000, I believe. Currently sitting at 982. Solana, I think, will be there. Dogecoin's interesting, so it's definitely a top 10 market cap as a meme coin, which is crazy. It had a lot of support from Elon Musk in the past, maybe not as much now. I feel like that hype is kind of building down, but if it can hold its market cap and continue its hype, I do feel like it continue to be the leading meme coin. But then again, anything can happen and other memes can take over. Personally, I'm more of a fan of Pepe coin. I think that's a bigger meme and could eventually flip Dogecoin. Just a hot take. Cardano, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of. Chainlink, I think, is going to completely knock these others out of the park. I think Chainlink will definitely be a top 10, eventually top 5 or even top 3 crypto by market cap. That's why I'm super bullish on Link. Based off of the market cap it's at. So right now, if Chainlink was like already in top 5, maybe I wouldn't be as bullish. But the fact that it's 14th overall, I do feel like it has a lot more potential. And it's going to get into the top 10, at least in this bull run, maybe even top 5. And then you get into like Hyperliquid, Avalanche. The Avalanche is another layer 1. So these other coins could do good, right? This is kind of like where you have maybe more of a drop off, and you see these other coins maybe not do as good. But personally, I always say it's always the big 3 to me: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Link. And I see you posted here, XRP is a scam. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I am never been a big believer in XRP. I've never been a huge fan of XRP. I do feel like it's it's not the best coin to get into. It literally only built hype because of that SEC case and the fact that it won. With the fact of it, being a security or not was a big thing. But I'm not the biggest fan. Yeah, I would be careful with XRP, definitely. Dogecoin, right? The OG coin, Doge. Yeah, I think Doge can definitely be an indicator. Doge can be an indicator of when alt season kicks off. And I saw this live in person back in 2020 when Doge started pumping like crazy. It was like fractions of a cent. It wasn't even a full cent. And then it ran up to like 70 cents. And that came with the Elon backing. People were starting to use it for retail. Like Elon Musk came out and said you could buy a Tesla with Dogecoin. I believe Mark Cuban even came out and said you could buy Mavs tickets with a Dogecoin. It's starting to get mass appeal and using in the retail space. That's what made it super bullish. And everyone was super new into crypto, after that COVID crash, and everyone was starting to get into it. And they were seeing crazy gains by Bitcoin when the halving happened in 2020. But in all reality, I feel like Dogecoin can be super strong. It just needs to retain that attention, and that's the biggest thing. So it definitely can still be the leading crypto, right? I mean, we were just looking at it, and Doge was, let me look back at it, number 9 at overall market cap. Like that's still huge, right? Still at the billions level. So Doge is top 1. Doge is great. I do feel like it's strong, but if you're looking for more gains, more risk reward, I would look at more into things like the Pepe coin. I think, excuse me, Pepe is a great coin. Pepe kind of was born in 2023. It was a big coin on Ethereum. I'm sure a lot of you may be familiar with it, but Pepe is a good coin. I feel like it could eventually flip Doge, like what I was saying, and be a leading meme coin, leading indicator. All right, let me kind of hop back in where I was going to in this stream. So I'm gonna hop back into the concept of Q4. So why I feel like Q4 is going to be bullish, why I feel like it's going to be a big indicator, and I feel like it's going to actually blow people out of the water. So I want to show you this video of Eric Trump. So he came out and he was saying Q4 is going to be insanely bullish. So let me play this video for you and get your opinion on exactly what you think about it. So share my screen here. Make sure you can see it. All right. Let me play this video for you guys.
Future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super
excited. How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
I've always said that I think in time, Bitcoin surpasses $1 million. I think with quantitative easing that we're going to have starting tomorrow when the announcement's made, and all signs point in the right direction, unless this guy's really off his rocker, but then he's going to just get laughed out of this country. But I think starting tomorrow, you're going to see right drops. You see what's happening with M2, which is the money supply around the world, which is skyrocketing right now. Mm-hmm. Fourth quarter has always historically been the best quarter, or, generally the best quarter for cryptocurrencies. And the future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
All right. So yeah, so that gives you the gist of it. Just to kind of highlight that a little bit more, I'm just going to say the fact that M2 supply, that's the money supply. So that's the amount of purchasing power that the US has. A lot of people are getting sidelined. So you're seeing gold fly up, which I talked about in my last live stream. Gold is going up. All these different commodities, even silver is starting to break highs that it hasn't touched before. So that's actually crazy. A lot of money sitting on the sideline. A lot of that could rotate into crypto because crypto is also considered, Bitcoin, digital gold is considered a safe haven. And a lot of people are starting to look to crypto as an alternative investment. So yes, M2 supply is good. Quantitative easing means more printing of money, more devaluing of the dollar, which is even more bullish for crypto because eventually that's going to create more debt for the US and the government. I've been seeing and researching and seeing videos of the US government wanting to move their debt into crypto to eventually pay it off or kind of take it out in a sense. So, excuse me, sorry, getting some allergies here, but I think, I truly think that crypto is going to be big. I think Q4 is going to be huge, and I think there's big announcements to be made. That's kind of the gist of what I'm going there. Do you see the chat here? So do I trade futures or am I just the guy holding spot, smart guy holding spot? I am more a spot guy. I only trade futures when I see volatility or, perpetual contracts, trade with leverage. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think I'd prefer to just hold spot and rather buy with size than buy a small amount of money and trade at like higher leverage. Not the biggest fan of that. I've done it before. Definitely, been in the space a while. I've traded futures, traded contracts, but currently I'm more of a spot guy. Once volatility comes in, that may change. Maybe I'll jump into some trades, but for now, I think it's smarter just to hold spot and just to sit in your spot bags and kind of just let it ride. Like I'm saying, Q4, I feel like it's just a set it and forget it thing now. You just buy it, you just hodl, and then come back after Q4, maybe even let it ride to Q1 and just kind of see what's going on. So see another chat here. Trading futures and it always ends with them losing. Spot is the best. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with you. I'm not going to sit here and push leverage trading or push futures or anything like that. I think the best is to trade spot. And I think even outside of futures, if you're really trying to gamble a little more or look for more potential gains, I think I would much rather buy some Solana meme coins than trade futures because it's a lot easier to get liquidated. Solana meme coins, you're still buying in spot. Obviously, you can also trade that on leverage, but if you just buy it on spot, you can still make like a 10x overnight. That's the beauty of the volatility in the market, especially these meme coins. But I do want to put out a disclaimer and say they are super risky. So I think you're just buying the majors. You're just sitting in spot. Right now is a great opportunity, like I was highlighting. I think that's honestly the safest and current best method to go on right now. So safe in spot, comfy in spot. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. All right. Hopping on to this. I look at a lot of posts on Twitter. I'm sure you realize by now, or X as you want to call it now, since Elon took over. But here I want to highlight the White House coming out and saying that gold reserves may be used to buy Bitcoin. So we've seen the gold race pick up, gold prices skyrocket as the dollar's getting devalued, and we're seeing a lot of other things come into play. But over here, the gold reserves, if they take that money and buy Bitcoin with it, that's super bullish, right? Maybe some of these crypto heads, or maybe even me, I was thinking, oh, maybe Bitcoin's taking a step back and now they're going to transition to gold. But maybe they're just taking the money from gold that they're making right now and they're going to push that back into Bitcoin, and that's going to be super bullish, right? That's going to take the crypto market even higher because gold's been pumping. Now, if we move that money over to Bitcoin, that's just going to cause it to spike even more. And the White House buying is just super bullish as the US and, President Trump has been saying that he wants to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. So they want to lead the race in crypto. So this would definitely be a huge step in pushing that forward. And if you're looking on chain and kind of keeping up as the market's been trending down, a lot of people are buying up Bitcoin, like MicroStrategy, which is Michael Saylor's company. A few other companies, I can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of people are starting to buy the dips, specifically Bitcoin, which is super bullish. That's definitely a great indicator and something great that you want to follow and kind of look into. So that's super bullish, something that I'm very much looking into. But next, what's your BTC? Let me look at the chat here. What's your BTC price prediction for the coming months? So, like I'm saying, Q4 is going to be bullish in my eyes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin trading above 120 again, maybe pushing on the high end 130 to 140, but anything's possible in crypto. If Bitcoin just shoots up to 150 by December, I wouldn't be shocked. Let's just say that. So my neutral prediction would be 130, around 130,000, $130,000 per Bitcoin. A high end would be up to 150,000. However, I do want to preface the fact that Bitcoin could definitely drop if we get more bearish news into the end of the month. Maybe we test 100,000 again and then shoot back up. Worst case, maybe we shoot down to like that 90,000 range and then eventually pick back up. But regardless, I am still a firm believer that Q4, starting in October, is going to be super bullish up until the end of the year. And December has also been super bullish. We get that Santa rally going on. So a lot of it, yes, is kind of iffy right now. The market is sitting in fear if we're looking at the fear and greed index. But I do feel like Bitcoin could definitely push up to 130 and high end 150 by the end of the year. And Q1 could also be super bullish. A lot of people are calling the end of the cycle in Q1. I'm also a believer in the fact that we could be entering a longer super cycle, and the fact that we don't see four-year cycles anymore. We don't see bull for 4 years, bear for 2-3 years, and then back into the bull based on the halvening schedule. I think now that institutions are getting in, more volumes in, a lot more people are adopting crypto, and the government's getting involved. I think we just see continued gains for a long period of time, kind of like how the stock market is currently sitting at. So kind of just to answer that question for you, is it possible that the 4-year cycles are over and that we'll just keep going up for a while now? I do feel that. Yep. Yeah, exactly what you just said. Yeah. So I do feel like we're kind of headed to continuous upward movement, a lot of healthy movements, and we won't see as drastic drops. We won't see Bitcoin drop 60-70% in a bear market, and these altcoins go negative 99% or something crazy, right? A lot of them die out. I think the majors at least. And again, I'm going to advocate Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Link. I think those three, and obviously a few more. I'm not going to say just those, but the majors, the big market cap coins, are going to continue to see gains over the next 5 to 10 years. So, in my opinion, again, not financial advice, I would say literally just buy now. Think of it as a long-term investment, set it, forget it, and then come back in 5 to 10 years and see where you're at. I can say that you'll probably be happy about your investment if you're getting in now and kind of holding long term. That's what I'll say on that. But yeah, so now what I want to highlight and what I want to show you is another video. So we just popped in that other video, but now I want to show you a video about Vanguard and the fact that first they were not so bullish on Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden they became bullish. It's the concept of game theory. So if you're not familiar with game theory, it's the concept of everyone has to adopt it. So Bitcoin is becoming so big that everyone is almost forced to adopt it. Otherwise, they get left behind. So I'm going to show you this video so you can see kind of exactly what I'm talking about. And then I think it'll make more sense to you from that point. So let's see here. Share.
What would spot Bitcoin ETFs? Question came in. Hey, we know you're not offering one. Have you changed your mind? What would it take for you to change your mind? We don't plan to, and we don't we're not going to change our minds around this.
Yeah. So basically, the gist of that is saying Vanguard in 2024 said that they would never offer a Bitcoin ETF. And then come in 2025, they're in talks about a Bitcoin ETF. So just a year later, they kind of changed their minds. And it's very shocking. It's very, very interesting to see how that could happen. And to me, it's honestly not surprising because I've seen this play out with big banks like Chase, JP Morgan Chase came out and I think back in 2017 or 18, they were calling all the crypto a scam, and they're thinking, oh, none of this is going to work. And, they'll never, ever get to a point of success. But look at where we are now. Bitcoin's above 6 figures and no signs of slowing down, and truly feel like it'll be above $1 million in the next 5, 10 years, something like that. I see the chat here. Where am I from? Yeah. So originally, I'm currently based in the U.S., but originally I was born here in the U.S., but my parents are from Pakistan. So that's my background, in case you're wondering. Cool. So one more thing I do want to highlight. So I got to kind of close out this live stream, maybe the next 5-10 minutes. But one thing I do want to highlight is the fact that Tether is printing. Tether is it's also USDT, it's stable coin, but they're printing. They're printing dollars. They literally just minted $1 billion. So this is normally a very bullish indicator on the market. Not only did they mint here on September 26th, as you can see on my screen, but they also minted on the 24th. And let me share that with you as well, so you can see what I'm saying. So here's the 24th. So let me show you that. So what you just saw was the 26th. Let's hope this is the 24th. Yep. So now they also minted on 24th. So they minted and created $1 billion of USDT to literally buy the dip. That's the main reason they end up doing this, is because they want to buy the dip. So $1 billion, they want to buy a dip. Okay, $1 billion on the 24th, $1 billion on the 26th. They just printed in 2 days, like back to back. Like if that's not super bullish, I don't know what it is. The fact that they're continuing to print and buy up this dip, it's super bullish to me. I am very much a big fan of that. I do feel like these are indicators of buying dips, institutions maybe getting involved, money being moved to exchanges, and a lot of this going on. So I see the chat here. Subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. Subscribing. I'm really trying to put my name out there and push these live streams. So it means a lot that you've been active in the chat with me here and subscribing. Thank you. Appreciate it. I definitely won't forget you. Living a nice life in Dubai. That's funny. No, I won't forget the day one fans. Definitely not. We're definitely trying to push out a good narrative, good motive. I'm not trying to be like these other influencers to tell people to go trade leverage and lose all their money. I'm trying to give you my experience so that you can benefit in the best manner and also make money alongside all these crypto people. That's the goal. So really appreciate these conversations that I've been having here in the chat. Thanks for being active and really appreciate that subscribe. Like, thank you. That means a lot to me. I do want to end on two more tweets that I have here, and then we can kind of call it a stream from there. Computer's about to die actually too, so let me make this quick before that happens. So let's hop in here first. So Trump came in and basically said that if the US government has to shut down, it will, right? Obvious statement, right? You can see this little meme under here saying, Grok, is this true, right? It's kind of funny, but like, obviously, if it has to shut down, it will. That makes sense. That's kind of expected, right? I would think so. But basically, what's going on here is it could be a signal and it could be kind of like a warning sign that maybe the government is planning on shutting down. So that's one thing that you have to monitor and keep in the back of your mind in case that does happen, because it's always a possibility. So keep that in mind. It could definitely happen, but in this case, it's very iffy. Maybe we're getting news that the government shuts down and we start panic selling, or maybe people don't panic sell and they think, okay, the government's going to stay. Maybe Trump's just saying stuff. But again, warning signal. Keep it in mind. Don't sweep it under the rug just because it's something being said and it's kind of funny and repetitive. It could definitely be a signal, and the fact that maybe we could be headed towards a government shutdown. And that could be super bearish for all markets across the board, stock market, crypto, everything. And finally, I want to highlight on the fact of what Trump said that I'm super excited about is the fact it's still a rumor. So don't want to say he officially stated this, but just a rumor. He said that he's going to declare 0% tax on US-based cryptocurrencies. Now that would be super, super bullish in my eyes. And just to show you exactly what the US-based currencies are, let me stop sharing this and share my other screen. So on CoinGecko, that's the resource that I love to use. The US-made cryptocurrencies are these coins. So top made in the US, right, by market cap. So these are labeled by market cap. XRP, still top market cap, but we already discussed this. So I won't get back too into it, but I'm not super bullish on XRP. But you have Solana, which is another US-based. Link. Love Link. Love the fact that if Link is literally 0% base, 0% tax, and sitting where it's at, I do feel like it's probably the most underrated. I'm just going to say, like, I'm a super big Link Marine. I'm a big fan of Chainlink. So, if it's sitting where it's at and it's still a 14 overall market cap and it pushes above in the top 10, top 5, top 3 eventually, that's a great opportunity. Like, imagine making money on any of these coins. Imagine making $1 million on these coins, like any one of these coins, right? This is the full list, right? You got Uniswap, which is a DEX. Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. Arbitron, which is a layer 2 built on top of Ethereum, which is a layer 1. Pudgy Penguins, Pengu, that's based off the NFT. So you have a lot of coins here. Obviously, the Trump coin sitting here, you would expect that. Bonk is another ecosystem. They made actually a Bonk launch platform similar to Pump Fund. Jupiter is also a DEX for Solana. So you have a lot of coins here, but imagine making, let's just say, dollars on one of these coins. And normally you would have to, screen is black. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Let me actually share that again. So thank you. Appreciate that. That happens to me sometimes. I don't know why the screen goes black, but what I was showing here is basically the top coins, right? Imagine one of these coins is, for whatever reason, makes you, or for a good reason, makes you a lot of money, right? And you get a lot of money out of these coins. And let's say you make $1 million and you're in a middle class tax bracket, you have to pay 20 to 30%. That's 200,000, 300,000 going straight to the government. Like, that's crazy, right? But that's the price we pay when we file taxes, the capital gains tax. That's the price we pay just for being here. But I think it would be super bullish and insanely bullish for the market. It would bring more people in if you actually get that 0% tax, and I don't think it's far-fetched. So if you're buying these majors and you're sitting in them, and eventually Trump comes in and says 0% tax, that's just going to pump it up even more. And then when you sell it, it's all yours. You owe no taxes. That would be beautiful. That would be awesome. I really hope it happens. But again, it kind of falls back on the government, what they want to do. But with Trump and the money moves he makes, the economy moves, I don't think it's impossible. Then I'll answer this last question here. What do I think about Hedera HBAR? So to be honest, I haven't looked into HBAR recently. I have before. So if I can kind of throw up the chart here. The fundamentals, I may be a little bit behind on, if I'm just being honest. I'm not going to sit here and say I know a lot about what they've been building recently and so on. I have previously looked at them, if I'm just can go on their website and stuff. But I do feel like the chart for a lot of these coins could be bullish. I do think it's a good layer, a good network to build off of. Again, I haven't looked at them. I know they have good partnerships. I know that they've worked a lot in the space and a lot of use cases, a good ecosystem. A lot of people are building on Hedera too, which is great. But I would say if I just do a quick TA on it, we're looking at like the 7-day. I had pretty drastic dip. If we look at the monthly, it looks like it kind of double topped here and here, kind of coming down. I think my screen froze there for a little bit. Sorry about that. I want to say I am bullish on Hedera. I don't know much about it. I'll actually check it out since you mentioned it. So I appreciate bringing that up. At this point, I want to say I'm neutral on it. I can be bullish on it, but I will definitely dive into it and kind of look at it a little more to see exactly, what they're working on, what they have been working on. Because last time I looked at it, to be honest, was maybe over a year ago now. But yeah, definitely can be good. Thanks for throwing those questions in there. So I'm going to end my stream right there. Thank you for being active in the chat. Thank you, Crypto Mafia So, for subscribing, active in the chat. I hope more people kind of come up in the chat and kind of be active with me just like this, because I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to cover my material and also answer the questions. So thank you, Crypto Mafia So. Hope you have a great day. And thank you to everyone that was joining the stream. Until next time, I'll be streaming on the weekends. Try to pick it up on the weekday. So subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button on this and hit that bell button so you don't miss any one of my streams. And thank you again. Thank you for the engagement. Until next time, stay crypto. This is Crypto Compass. And until next time, talk to you guys later. Peace.